Welcome to our YouTube channel, The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky, where we talk about all things pop culture, whether it's good or bad, but definitely if it's geeky. I am your host, Daniel, and this is my beautiful co-host.
Shelby Lane.
So today we are on our road to Endgame, and we are discussing Thor. We mentioned earlier that we're going to be skipping over Iron Man 2, but we'll be coming back to that.
I believe that's going to be the next movie we do, correct?
Yeah, most likely.
Unless something else happens and we
Yeah.
have trouble.
So speaking of trouble, our cat Ripley is causing a little bit of mayhem again. She's just really wanting to play with the guinea pigs.
And she just really wants attention.
But she's not allowed to, well, she's allowed to have attention. She's not allowed to play with the guinea pigs. So, if I randomly get up or start looking away, it's just to make sure everything is safe on that side. But yeah, so let's get into it. So Thor is a film that was originally released in 2011. It is directed by Kenneth Branagh, starring Chris Hemsworth, Anthony Hopkins, and Natalie Portman. The first movie of our road to Endgame where a female was actually in the top 3 billed cast.
I thought Iron Man 2.
Yeah, but we haven't done Iron Man 2.
So my first comment off the bat is I actually asked Daniel about this because he knows actors quite a bit better than I do. Chris Hemsworth, actually, this was his first big film, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. It was his. It probably wasn't his big screen debut, but it's where everyone knew and found out who Chris Hemsworth is.
I definitely feel like he was the perfect choice to play Thor. I kind of made a passing comment that I thought that perhaps, what's his name? Batman.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale would make a better Thor.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense now. Because you see, when you had originally made that comment when we were watching the film, Eric Selvig was the character that had just finished being on screen. So I thought you were saying Christian Bale should be playing the old scientist dude. And I was like,
No. Granted, he can't do old people fairly well.
As we saw in Vice.
Yeah. But I definitely feel like he would have made a good second choice for Thor. He's done a lot of stuff. He's a very good actor. But Chris Hemsworth pulls this off beautifully and wonderfully, and he really is a great choice for this.
Unfortunately, if I remember correctly, Christian Bale did say he's done with superheroes. After those 3 really good Batman films, he hanged up the cow for good.
You can say that.
That's true. I mean, how many actors have come out of retirement? So
yeah. So going into the actual movie, of course, this is going to be our spoiler warning real quick. If you haven't seen it, you shouldn't be watching the Road to Endgame trilogies and videos, analogs, and you know what I'm saying. You shouldn't be watching this video if you haven't seen it.
You should be watching the movie.
Yeah, you should be watching the movie. This is a pretty good movie. I didn't see it as the most memorable of the Marvel movies, but it's still a very good movie. Good watch, fun watch, all that good stuff.
Really quick, I do agree with that. Thor is much like Iron Man. In our Iron Man review, I said I forgot how much I love Iron Man until I watched Iron Man. Well, I forgot how really well done Thor is. But the problem is, you forget Thor.
Yeah.
Like this is not all that.
It's kind of drowned out by the future movies. I will say this: watching Thor and Incredible Hulk has made me really, really, really want to watch Captain America. Thankfully, that's coming up pretty quick. So, definitely getting me into that Marvel mood. So going into the actual movie now. The movie opens up to a scene with Natalie Portman and her scientist buddies.
Dr. Eric Selvig and
Darcy.
Undergrad Darcy?
Darcy. It doesn't matter her title. She's an assistant.
Darcy.
She's Darcy.
Kat Dennings from Two Broke Girls, like one of my biggest celebrity crushes. She's amazing. I love her.
I personally think Natalie Portman is more pretty than Kat Dennings, but
it's also about the
let us know what y'all think.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't debate with my girlfriend why I love this female so much. So
let us know what y'all think down in the comments below. I definitely thought watching this movie because right after that scene with the science group, we go into Asgard and the tale of Asgard.
It hard cuts to like
the mythology.
What was it, like 300 BC or something like that?
Yeah.
And it's following the Vikings and stuff.
Yeah. I really felt like they should have just started with that. It would have made a much more memorable start, first of all, and it would have also, kind of set the mood a little bit better. Because, I mean, this is kind of these mythological legends are coming to Earth. What do they do?
Yeah, I would have agreed with you because that is what I thought when we were watching it, up until Thor gets banished from Asgard and it does that hard cut to him getting hit with Natalie Portman's car, Jane Foster, that's her name, with Jane Foster hitting him with the car, which is basically right where we ended off with on that scene before the hard cut to Vikings. So I felt like they mounted it really well.
I just feel like there would have been a better place if they had put the mythology at the start. There would have been a better place to throw in the storm and the science stuff with Natalie Portman. Yeah. Just shifted that around a little bit, and it would have made more sense to me. I really enjoyed the mythology. I really enjoyed the detail and the care that they put into creating all of the mythological creatures for this movie. It was truly beautiful. I just didn't like that particular thing about this opening.
And Kenneth Branagh is actually a really good director. He does a great job directing this film. And it shows in two very specific camera shots that I really want to just talk about really quick. The first one is, when we have that hard cut to the Vikings and stuff, it's narrated by Odin, being played by Anthony Hopkins. And he's giving you backstory on Asgard and everything. And when they introduce Asgard, you see like this crystal mountain and just floating in space. And, that in of itself is like really beautiful to look at. But then the camera keeps panning and it pans, the camera flips and it continues panning over. And then you see what you were looking at was actually the bottom of Asgard. And when you see Asgard, it's just golden towers and palaces everywhere.
Jaw-dropping.
Very colorful, very wow. And I mean, obviously that camera angle was CGI'd, but I mean, just the fact that he came up with that and like completely, blank computer screen is
yeah, that's
amazing.
The other thing. When you think about CGI, they're not starting with a baseline something to work off of for the most part, especially on a shot like that. They're starting from scratch and working up, which is another thing that's just a remarkable thing that they do.
And the other camera angle I want to talk about is fast forwarding about 3/4 of the way through the film. Loki takes up the reign of king he's a king intermedium or something like that. His father's he's the acting king, and the father Odin, he falls into the Odin sleep, which is kind of like a hibernation that happens every, I don't know how often, I don't know Norse mythology or Thor, sorry. But it happens every so often, and Thor is banished at this point, and so he is the acting king. And the Lady Sif and the Warriors 3, which are like Thor's best friends, they suspect Loki had committed treason and allowed enemies of the state into the palace, ruining Thor's crowning ceremony. So they go to Odin just to see that it's Loki sitting on the throne, and once Loki tells them that he's the acting king, it does this very interesting thing because it's cutting back and forth between the Warrior 3, while Lady Sif and the Warrior 3, and Loki. And when it cuts to Lady Sif and the Warrior 3, it's a leveled camera. But whenever it cuts to Loki, it's always slanted, which I feel is a great way to show to the audience that he is a unbalanced character. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like that was a really great way to convey that. That's really it as far as plot.
One of the things that I really appreciate, and it really comes from the skills that the actors have, it's very obvious that Odin finds it very hard to cast Thor out.
Yeah.
It's obvious in his voice and in his eyes and his face as a whole. It's obviously very painful for him to cast out his, well, truly his only son. I mean, Loki is technically his son, but he's not biological.
Yeah, I think we all know by now that all of these, the 4 starring actors are all really good actors.
Yeah, incredible.
Chris Hemsworth. Sorry. The Russo brothers have hinted, almost like indirectly stating that they believe Chris Hemsworth is the most talented actor in the MCU that they have on the regular. Anthony Hopkins, I mean, Sir Anthony Hopkins, come on, he's a legend. He is an amazing actor. If you don't think he's a good actor, just watch Silence of the Lambs. Natalie Portman, I believe she's also an Academy Award-winning actor along with Anthony Hopkins.
Well, Natalie Portman in her role in Black Swan just goes to show just how incredible of an actress she is.
By the way, if you're like me and you put off Black Swan because it's a stupid ballerina film, watch it. It is so good.
He actually only watched it because of me, and I ended up not liking it.
Yeah, well, we'll probably talk about Black Swan at one point, but just to really, really quickly say it, it's more of a psychological horror than a ballerina film. So yeah, watch it. It's really good. So back to Thor. Yeah, all of these guys are just powerhouse actors, and it really shows in some scenes and like a lot of scenes. You mentioned specifically when Thor is being banished. I also feel it shines a lot with Loki and his internal struggles. You know, because this film is really about 2 brothers and their fight and their struggle. One brother, Thor, is just struggling to become king, while the other brother, Loki, is struggling for the love and respect of his father.
Yeah.
And it's just so moving. They play those so well. And when Loki dies for the first time, it's so good.
Well, another thing that is very easy to point out and show just how good of an actor Chris Hemsworth is obviously he isn't accustomed to the human race. And you find that out very, very quickly in this movie after he gets banished to Earth. Not just anybody can pull off, you know, where is my hammer? Hammer! I mean,
the streak. I like it. I want another. Like that's probably like one of my favorite scenes throughout the entire film.
And not just anybody can do that.
And to fill it off with not just a straight face, but with the belief that that's how it's supposed to happen is just...
Now, I do have a question here. Is Chris Hemsworth's voice actually that deep? Or does he deepen it for the role?
Like Chris Pratt? Okay. I think it's a combination of the two. I think it is more naturally that deep, and he kind of just emphasizes it a little bit. Because, yeah, I mean... Yeah, I feel like...
voice. Basically, half of my notes for this movie are just things that I really appreciate about Chris Hemsworth and his body and his eyes and his...
No, I don't feel so bad for talking about Kat Dennings at the beginning of this video.
Well, like, half of my notes are just heart. I kind of drooled there. His eyes! That body, though. I mean, I'm a woman. I can't help it. One of the things that I really did like in this one was Stanley's cameo, actually.
Stanley has a good cameo on this one.
And this cameo is really funny because what you get is the truck is hooked up to Thor's hammer.
Yeah, so when Thor got banished, you see, really quick, I need to clear something up here. Okay?
I knew this was going to happen.
A lot of people were talking in Infinity War that when Groot lifted up Stormbreaker and put it together, that people were like flipping out, like, oh my god, Groot's worthy from Mjolnir, yada 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 yada. First of all, no, because Stormbreaker wasn't even finished yet. So no. And secondly, the enchantment that Mjolnir has, if he who be worthy, be able to lift the hammer, yada yada. We see that being given to Mjolnir
right
in this
after.
film. Yeah, right after Thor gets banished. So it's reasonable to assume that beforehand, as long as you're just strong enough to pick up Mjolnir, because Mjolnir is made with a metal forged from a dying star, a teaspoon of it weighs who knows how many tons. It's a very dense metal. So to be able to lift it in of it itself is its own feat. But with that enchantment, you can't lift it up if you're worthy. So beforehand, I assume just any Asgardian, my bad, would be able to lift it up, no problem, until that enchantment. That enchantment didn't happen until this Thor film. Odin put that enchantment on Mjolnir. So Groot is not worthy for Mjolnir. He's not worthy for Stormbreaker because it doesn't have that enchantment.
So
needed to clear that.
Every time that we have talked about this today, I just keep getting this flashback to when Captain America tries to lift the hammer, and Thor gets legitimately like this frightened look on his face, like, oh shit, he's actually going to be able to do it.
Well, there's a fan theory that the only reason he wasn't able to lift it up was because he was feeling guilty for not telling Tony about Bucky and the family connection there. Which, I mean, you've seen Civil War, you know what the family connection is. But we'll definitely talk about it more when we do our Civil War video.
But every time that we've talked about the hammer and the worthiness and all that, I just keep thinking back to that and how Thor's like, oh shit, he's gonna lift it.
Just saying, I really hope Captain America. Well, no, he can't pick up Mjolnir now. It's destroyed. God damn it. Never mind.
So another thing that I really appreciate in this film is actually Kat Dennings. So
I appreciate Kat Dennings a lot.
Different parts of you appreciate her than they do for me. So the thing that I appreciate about Kat Dennings in this film, though, is that she bounces back off of Thor not knowing what shit is so nicely.
She's a great comedic actress. I'll say that much. She should be. I know she has a comedy show, Two Broke Girls, but I definitely feel she should be in some more comedic movies.
Yeah.
She seems naturally witty. I don't know if that's just really great screenwriting, but I mean, to give a good joke, you also have to be naturally good at it.
I love when she tases Thor.
I love all the different ways she tries to pronounce Mjolnir.
And then the other thing is...
Mjolnir?
Kat Dennings kind of serves as us in this film to a certain extent, in the sense that she doesn't know anything that is going on. She doesn't know the science side of it. She doesn't know the mythology side of it. She's basically us.
Yeah, she's the audience stand-in, which every good film should have an audience stand-in, because if this is a lived-in world, you need to be able to find a way to explain some things to the audience, and you always need that stand-in.
Also, I know if you watch Doctor Who, it's possible you know about the Einstein bridge thing. I always forget no idea about that. And I wouldn't know about it. And the fact that they explain it so easily as basically a wormhole and then keep going, it kind of just very easily lets us know exactly what's going on there.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really appreciated in this movie. Also, the other thing I really appreciated in here was when Thor tried to pick up the hammer. He seems in total disbelief that he can't pick up his hammer. It's my hammer. Let me pick up my hammer. But it goes into the storyline. Really and truly what Thor is struggling with is he's trying to prove he's worthy of being king, and at that point he wasn't worthy.
Right.
And it just goes to show how well done this movie was. I only have like 3/4 of a page of notes on this one, and my average has been about 1.5. So that just goes to show that this is a really good movie, and there's not a lot to nitpick on. The other side of that is that there's not a lot to make it super memorable, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
although there are some really good moments in here. Like I said, when he's drinking coffee and he smashes it, that's great. Another one of my favorite parts is when he walks into the pet shop and he just says, "I need a horse." Like, we don't have those. We only have cats, dogs, and birds. Very well then. I need one large enough to ride. And it's just, that's great.
Although there are dogs that could technically be large enough to ride. Not by
Oh.
But, you know, put a small child on the back of a Labrador.
If I remember correctly, when I was a little boy, I used to ride my Nina's dog around, which was a pit bull. Do not start with your pit bull hate down below. I will fight you. Okay, Bandit was a sweet, lovable dog. Sorry, just had to throw that out there.
So how would you rate Thor?
So it's funny because we actually both kind of like have this disagreement over the rating of the movie, because I initially wanted to give it a 7 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just so much in its subject. There's so much there. There's so much past the shiny costumes and the capes, and there's not even a huge fight sequence. It's really all character driven. So with that, I want to push it over to an 8, but it's also not that memorable. It's also...
This isn't one of those movies that you're going to be sitting around the house one day and say, I really want to watch Thor right now. You might say, I really want to watch Thor Ragnarok, or...
I mean, unless you're like, hey, I want to watch a superhero movie that Shakespeare would have written or something.
Although, no. As a huge Shakespeare fan, no. Why would you even say that?
Because we'll have to get into this discussion afterwards.
Yeah, this will be a post-camera discussion.
So I don't know. I don't know if I want to give a 7 or 8. I do know one of in our scoring system, the big difference between a 7 and an 8 is I recommend, for an 8, I recommend it even if you wouldn't, I recommend you see it even if it's something you wouldn't normally see. So off of that basis alone, I give it an 8.
I would give it a 7 still, simply because this isn't going to be something that would come to my mind to recommend ever. I mean, somebody asks me, I really want to watch a superhero film that's got some mythology tie-ins. If they are super specific, I might recommend this movie, but otherwise, there's a shit ton of other superhero movies out there. There's a shit ton of other mythology movies out there. This is not going to be a movie that comes to mind for me to recommend. So, based on that, it's still a great movie, and you should see it, but I'm gonna still stick with my 7.
Okay.
Definitely let us know your thoughts on this down below. If you absolutely love this film and it's your favorite of the MCU, absolutely tell us why. Because you might make us see something that we didn't necessarily catch. So
yeah, and gonna have to do the stupid YouTuber stuff. If you liked our video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe our video around the web. If you do like the MCU films and you don't necessarily want to watch them all before you watch Endgame, remember that this is a mini-series where we're going to watch all of them beforehand.
And up next, we're going to do Iron Man 2, unless we hit errors.
Another roadblock, sorry.
Presumably, we're hoping to do 1 video a week. Of course, I did just start my spring semester of my junior year of college, so if there are some snags in that, I will definitely continue to apologize as we go. But if we hit some snags and we don't have one up within a week, that's probably why.
Yeah, and
that's why we're doing 2 today.
Yeah, we'll try to backlog it. That is exactly why we did 2 today. 1 from last week, 1 for this week.
More than likely, the Incredible Hulk video and the Thor video will end up going up like a day apart. But just so you know, they were filmed on the same day. It just depends on how long it takes us to get it up tonight.
Right. So I think that's it.
If you have any comments, questions, recommendations for us about the channel as a whole, or about our setup, about our cat, about our guinea pig, please feel free to email us. I do check my email almost hourly because I am in college and my professors email me a lot. So absolutely, we will get back to you ASAP. Our email is in the About section on our channel.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns about what we're doing video-wise, drop a comment. I'll be sure to respond.
Yeah, he'll probably respond to comments quicker than I will. So, that being said, we hope you enjoy the good, enjoy the bad, and especially enjoy the geeky.
You guys have a good day.